Hello and welcome to Gamer Dojo's monthly review show. This is for the month of February 2018. The show used to be called Here and Now, but HBO recently came out with their own show called Here and Now, so we think it's going to be confusing. We're going to just call it, I guess, the Gamer Dojo's monthly review show. That's the title we have right now. So yeah, in this show we just talk about things that we either played or watched throughout the month. Mostly video games, but we also talk about movies and television. Alright, so a game that I would like to talk about is The 7 Deadly Sins, Knights of Britannia. I had no idea what this game was. I just had it on my rental list for Gamefly. It turns out it's based on an anime, which I never watched before. It's made by Bandai, who I guess makes every anime game, it seems like. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the game was actually pretty fun, even though I have no idea what the anime is about or anything like that. It just it kept me entertained, and I feel like if this game ever goes on sale, on the PS Store, I'll definitely pick it up. And it actually made me more interested. I want to see the anime now. Alright, so another game we played this month was Dissidia, Final Fantasy. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. I think there's enough to it, the mechanics of the game, to make it interesting. I'm into Final Fantasy, so I'm a sucker for anything Final Fantasy. All the characters it's awesome being able to play as Squall and Cloud and Sephiroth. I'd probably get the game, but I don't think I'd spend $60 on it. It seems a little bit too much. Not enough to it in order to do $60. And a couple problems I had with it. A lot of the online matches didn't really work that well. Very laggy. I played it when it first came out, so maybe they did updates to it since then. I had a problem with that. I also had a problem with the story mode. I mean, it was an interesting story mode, but they made you do too much grinding in order to unlock cutscenes, which I didn't like at all. They should just let you do the story mode and watch the cutscenes without doing grinding, Definitely a game that I would pick up, like 7 Deadly Sins, if it goes on sale in the PSP store. Maybe like $30.
I mean, I played that in the arcades originally, and just like the graphics, it doesn't even compare to we're still kind of behind with the consoles.
Yeah, which is strange.
Yeah.
I would think the consoles would be able to keep up with arcade systems.
Yeah. It was weird. It was kind of very weird controls in the arcade, and on PlayStation 4, it's a different fight system, not anything you'd be used to.
It's a unique fighting system for sure. It fights a lot like the original Dissidia, if you ever played that.
Right.
It actually reminded me a little bit of the Naruto games.
A little bit.
And a little bit of the 7 Deadly Sins, actually, the fighting style. But one reason why it might look better in the arcades is because they make that arcade machine just for that game, so they tweak it, just for that game.
Yeah. It's almost there.
Yeah. PlayStation VR. There was 2 big games that came out this month.
Yeah.
The Inpatient.
Right, Inpatient.
Which was like a prequel to what the hell's that game?
Until Dawn.
Which was a great game. I really enjoyed it. I played it last year.
Yeah, Until Dawn's one of the best exclusive games, I think, for PlayStation.
Yeah. Definitely a pleasant surprise, Until Dawn. So, The Inpatient is a VR exclusive for PlayStation 4. So, what do you think about The Inpatient? I didn't really play it much.
I mean, if you played Until Dawn, there's kind of like a campy, cheesy 80s horror feel to it, whereas in Inpatient it's more psychological, I would say. It's very slow. There's not a lot of action, not a lot of jump scares or anything like that. I guess there's just a slow build up to something eventually. But from what I've played, it's okay. It's an okay experience. You never really feel scared though, whereas if you're playing Resident Evil in VR, I feel like that's more of a scary experience.
Or even Rush of Blood. Wasn't that scary?
Yeah, Rush of Blood.
Which is also
Rush of Blood had a lot of jump scares.
Until Dawn.
I think it's different. If something's scary, it's one thing. If it has a lot of jump scares, it's another. But Impatient's okay. It's very slow. You can't even run, so you're walking the whole time. It's a first-person perspective. You don't do a lot of talking. You have some choices, but I feel like the butterfly effect worked better in Until Dawn, because that would affect the outcome more. Whereas in this game, I don't know what the butterfly effect is going to affect so far.
So it's not really an overwhelmingly great game so far.
No, I wouldn't say it's very great. I've played better VR games.
Yeah.
I've played scarier VR games, so I'm not sure where Inpatient falls.
So it's kind of a disappointment, actually.
I would say, because I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Anything from Until Dawn, so maybe we gotta wait until a proper sequel. Yeah.
Another VR game that came out this month is called Moss, which is it's like a puzzle game. Kind of reminds me of like Ico style puzzle game where they have a map layout. You got to kind of figure out how to get through the map, and you control this little mouse guy. It's very cute, very cartoony, but I love the atmosphere in that game. I think it's very well made, very well done, very fun. It's one of the it's a VR game that doesn't make me feel nauseous when I'm playing it, which is great. And that's a great game.
Yeah, I like the camera. You kind of control. You don't control the mouse. Like your camera isn't the mouse's perspective. You're kind of like watching over the mouse on top view, and you have to control the mouse with your controller. But you have to use your head as like the camera where it's gonna go.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool too. It's like, say there's a reflection, and you look at it, you can see the character that you're supposed to be, which is like this, I don't know, weird ghost-looking character that's kind of watching over Moss. The mouse is not called Moss. The name of the world is called Moss.
I see.
I really liked it. That actually is probably my game of the month, Moss.
Interesting.
Yeah, even though I didn't play much of it, I just really like how it's done. It's a really well done game. Bayonetta, Keith, you want to talk about that real quick?
Oh yeah, Bayonetta for Switch. It's a re-release. Switch has been doing a lot of Wii U ports because no one bought the Wii U except for me and
Yeah.
a few others. So a lot of these games I already played, but I got them again for Switch just because I like playing portable. I prefer playing it than watching on a TV because just my eyes are getting worse and worse. So playing it portable is good. Bayonetta 1 is okay. Part 2 I think is a lot better. They everything that was wrong with Bayonetta 1, they fixed with Part 2. The action's a lot smoother. Battle system's a lot easier to understand. You're not trying to remember combos in the middle of a fight, because in that game the fights are really fast. It's like, Ninja Gaiden, where you have to any split second you can get killed, so you have to really time your fights and dodges.
Is that a Nintendo game? Nintendo made that?
Sega was publisher. Platinum was the developer.
I think Nintendo.
And Nintendo is doing the publishing for the next,
for Platinum.
They're taking over.
And they exclusively getting Bayonetta 3. So it's just a good way to get introduced people, since no one really bought it on the Wii U. So if you like those kind of quick, fast action games like Metal Gear Rising or Ninja Gaiden, Bayonetta 2, not so much the first one.
And you're looking forward to Bayonetta 3 now? It was announced recently?
I'm sure it's going to be even better, hopefully.
Alright, so another game we can talk about real quick is Metal Gear Survive. Has anybody played that?
No, there wasn't. I have way too many other games. I didn't get a chance to play it.
First off, it doesn't need to be called Metal Gear. It has nothing to do with Metal Gear other than the engine they used.
Introduction. The first cutscene, right? I think, what is it? The
they
original
show
one the base
boss.
gets? Or
Yeah.
what is it?
Yeah, it's the end of Ground Zeroes, pretty much.
Yeah. And they show Big Boss, but he doesn't talk or anything like that.
No.
It's only for a second. And they use the engine, like the Fox engine, whatever I think that it's called.
Yeah.
But other than that, it really has nothing to do with Metal Gear. It takes place in a different dimension. It's kind of like a zombie apocalypse game where, you gotta hold off hordes of zombie type things. I don't even know what the hell they are. I guess they have these things growing out of their heads. They're zombies, pretty much.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of bad shit about this game, but I played it myself, and I actually thought it was pretty fun. I found it to be kind of enjoyable. Intense. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I don't think it should be called Metal Gear, but other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I don't think you should play it if you're expecting a Metal Gear game.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. It's what I've played it. It's fun. I don't know what the multiplayer's like. You could play with 3 other people, I think.
Yeah, I didn't get to try the multiplayer yet.
So
I'm just go through story.
Fun. Yeah.
And there's a lot to it. You could build your weapons, you build your base up. Kind of reminds me of Fallout, the new Fallout, how you could build your base and stuff like that.
Right.
And you can build weapons. So kind of the same idea.
Maybe people are just kind of bitter with Konami right now.
Yeah, they really are just trying to capitalize on the name Metal Gear with this game. It's obvious.
I think it backfired on them. I don't think the sales are that good.
No, supposedly the sales in Japan for this game are horrible. It's a cheap game too. It's only like $35 or $39. But I haven't really got into it too far yet. But I hear there's a lot of in-game purchases that make the game easier. So that's what they're banking on.
I see.
Which I would never buy anyway. But a lot of people are complaining about that. The loot box. I don't know if it's the loot box system, but whatever the in-game purchases are in the game. Railroad Tycoon. Right? It's like Railroad or Roller Coaster Tycoon, one of those PC games where you create this one you create a railroad system, and it's like the old-fashioned ones.
Like a steam engine?
Yeah, it's like steam engine time period, like the original railroads, and you're going across America and you're building railroads. I guess if you're really into that time period of railroads, this is like the game for you.
You could kind of play as become the guy from the Blood, right?
Yeah, the railroads.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I know like Tycoon, like a lot of physics class, like college courses make you play that game.
Oh, really?
It's because you get an idea of like how shit works.
Problem with Railroad Tycoon for me, I played it for about 15 minutes and I got stuck just trying to place a railroad station on top of a town.
Oh, you're talking about bugs.
Yeah. Okay. It reminded me, because I know you had a problem, Randall, with The Sims 4.
Yeah, it was hard to...
It was too hard to control on a console.
It wasn't like... You always have to pause it. If you just want to let the game play, then yeah, by all means, put your guy in make a default guy, put him in a default house, and just hit play, and then watch your guy play. But you could do that, but you can't have control on Xbox.
You know, should they be porting these games over if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't, control right? I think a lot of these games you do need a mouse and keyboard to really get it down, and these systems aren't offering mouse and keyboards.
No, Xbox is.
They do now?
It's the next spring update, I believe.
Okay.
Or summer update.
See,
one of the two updates.
That's a new update.
Yeah.
So maybe
up
we'll
until
see
now
more.
they have it.
But honestly, I mean, if you're going to be playing games like that, I mean, I would say probably just play on the computer. I mean, a lot of these games are not...
That's the point.
They don't require a lot of...
Yeah, just, get a desktop computer gamer. Who has that? No one?
Oh, yeah, except for the two guys sitting at the table here.
Yeah, unless you have that, then...
I gotta stream some of my
computer.
Shogun Total War games for you to watch.
You did a little bit. We watched some. I watched one of those.
But then
it's pretty good.
A computer.
Yeah, computers are expensive, especially to keep up with it. But my whole point was some of these PC games should not be ported over. They're just not done well. And it just seems like a waste. You guys want to talk about Dynasty Warriors 9?
Okay, Dynasty Warriors 9. I think it's my game of the month, despite all the bad reviews.
Someone has a hot take on this.
So I think February was kind of weak in general.
Well, first of all, this Dynasty Warrior does not have any co-op whatsoever, which was kind of shocking considering that I played a lot of the old Muso games.
Yeah.
Even whatever limited function they had at least some sort of co-op. But this one is completely single player only.
Yeah. Not even online.
That's a letdown.
But the game is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever scroll back on the map,
So you're China.
they got pretty much
Most of China.
most of China except for the far west. Like
It is huge. It
it
takes a
is
long
freaking
time.
huge.
Well, Mongolians were there then, so it doesn't count.
Well, if they're part of the DLC, we'll find out soon.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Blood,
that's like 1,000 years into the future from
Yeah.
the Three Kingdoms period. But the good thing is that without having to worry about online, they were able to at least add in a pretty substantial story.
Yeah.
I mean, I so far I've only played Shu and Wu,
Yeah.
and at least for the story, if you choose the the main, Liu Bei as in Shu, and then Sun Quan and Sun Ce and Wu, they actually go through a decent amount of their story, like from beginning to end. So Sun Quan kind of dies pretty early; he passes away. So he has a shorter story, but if you play Sun Ce, he kind of has like 6 or 8 stages. And they're pretty long.
If you choose a character that dies early, then that's it. That's the end.
Yeah, some of the characters don't have long story arcs. So I mean, some of the main characters,
Guan Yu even dies early.
Guan Yu dies early, so he has I think 5 stages. Whereas Liu Bei, I'm still going on. He has 12. He goes from pretty much from the beginning, Yellow Turban, all the way to the end, right before the.
As he did in history.
Was it the plains, the Wuzang Plains?
Yeah, that's where he died. Yeah.
That's right before he passes away.
With Shuge Liang. That was good.
No, Shuge Liang passes on the plains, but he dies a little bit before that. So there's like a huge story for him, but for some of the other short like was it Lu Meng and or especially some of the female characters, they don't really have a lot of like huge story.
What do you like about it?
It's just fun. I like Dynasty Warriors. I've always liked them, and I know it's disappointing, but it's not as bad as 6. I think so. There's some.
No, it's not as bad
hope.
as 6.
I like how you go fishing. You can like do. I don't really like how you do all the little missions because it's just like go over here and beat these guys up.
But the good thing is that at least in the game where they give you different objectives, like you look through your objective list, and some of them are just random crap you don't have to do. But there's like some sub objectives which is like if you based on history you're supposed to go here and fight these generals off.
Yeah.
You can do those, and they make the battle itself, the overall battle, a little easier. They actually tell you it levels down the requirements to fight like certain generals or siege certain cities. So at least they kind of added into sort of system where if you do go ahead and do these other things, it'll make your fight a little easier.
So what's wrong with the game?
Bugs.
Bugs.
And also performance. Unless you have an Xbox One X, from what I can tell, the game runs terribly.
It's slow,
a lot of
yeah.
slowdowns.
Yeah.
Like even on the X, it struggles to maintain like a decent frame rate. Like sometimes when I'm fighting a ton of guys, it'll just drop. And they're talking about like a system that can handle like Star Wars at 60 frames, the new Star Wars game, and you can't handle Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
The new EA UFC game, they changed it up a little bit. The fighting system's different. It seems like the grappling system is the same, which I thought would be the opposite. I thought they were.
That was what needed more focus.
Yeah, the grappling system. I never had a problem with that. But now that I played it a little bit more, I actually like the fighting system. I think it's pretty well done. It makes it so not everyone's exactly the same like they were in a lot of the other UFC games. Like if you're holding forward and press punch, everyone does
a jab or
hard
something.
punch. And this, not everyone has overhand rights. Not everyone has high head kicks, which I think is awesome. I think that's really well done.
It's a pretty good. It's definitely competitive as hell. It reminds me of almost like a Fight Night 3 or Fight Night 5 where it's fun to play an actual human and just the stamina, keeping eyes on that, your stamina, your punch output and everything. It makes it a lot more strategic and very fun to play against a human person. Why is submissions all one? A joint lock should be a different minigame than a chokehold.
Yeah.
And I'm almost positive that the MMA EA Sports game, the first one that came out
With Fedor on the cover.
yeah, Affliction and all them. I'm pretty sure they had 2 different minigames for submissions, which is very interesting. But Ultimate Team Mode is a new game, so I'll defend right now. The crate box I don't see being, unless they edit it, you can unlock a box in a few matches, so it's not like you must buy something to be competitive. But last year, you could crate somebody whenever, it's all your crate a guy. Now they do like a card system where you have to like get certain fighters, so if you get like an Anderson Silva, Cain Vasquez, they're better than like a no-name guy. And you kind of give them moves and everything. And there is creative people snuck in there, but it's like you have to unlock them too, which I don't like. I feel like you should get a creative guy right from the get-go if you want to do them. And you don't get to pick like their height or their weight or their style. So like a boxer is a boxer, can't make them anything else. Like you can give them the moves, but it's set what that card is, and almost it's generic. Everybody gets that same card. I was using the creative guys. I made Kung Lee. She stayed. Chung Li.
Yeah.
The woman from Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Use her a lot, and then my lightweight guy I've switched from Mayweather, Little Mac, the Let Me Bang Bro guy, the crying guy.
You created that guy?
Yeah, and his name is just Let Me Bang Bro. And I had one person to crack up saying ha 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 as a reply. But and then I actually got CM Punk as a middleweight, so I was pretty happy. So that was actually fun because I've only gotten 2 creative people. I loved Ultimate Team to just create my roster of people, freaking all from like video games and whatnot. They have a lot of cool modes though. I don't want to end it before I go over some of the cool modes though. You have submission only, stand up only, and then Snoop Dogg's own commentary of knockout mode, which knockout mode is a new mode, or not new mode because it was in last year's, but Snoop Dogg does a commentary, so that's pretty cool. You can tell Joe Rogan's commentary is just freaking edited kind of in there because he didn't want to shoot lines. But the roster's cool, like you said, the moves. It is hard to be a lower level character and beat a heavy, higher character, but it's possible. But that is where the difference of the characters is. Like especially in wrestling or clinch, you'll probably really notice it, as opposed to striking. But the striking aspect of it is really fun. And then, like I said, very fun game one-on-one. So
There was another game you wanted to mention.
Oh, I wanted to do an honorable mention to this fucking terrible game I played because someone recommended
dishonorable
it to me.
mention.
Dishonorable mention.
Biggest disappointment of the month.
Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Wow, that's
I don't know who decided to post a video. And
I was
excited
going nuts
for it.
over. I think is that
Okay.
the Kingdom game, and
Yeah.
that like you live a
Seems
life like an
popular.
actual
So it's
minute by
popular,
minute life.
but so many bullshit things in that game. It makes it so hard for me to recommend. First of all, you can't save anywhere. The only way to save is either you go to an inn, you sleep, you pay to go to sleep, or you buy these mad expensive alcohol, get yourself drunk, and you save. And half the time when you try to save, it bugs out, and then
Oh,
you think you saved.
that's
so you
fun.
play another 4 hours, and you go back. It's like, why am I save locked out? I can't drink. I can't go to the inn. The inn doesn't let me go to sleep and save. Like, what the fuck's going on? And I think I lost 8 hours of game time just for
Oh, that's
losing
game-breaking.
two different save points that I couldn't get through. They had a refund policy on Steam, so I figured I'd try that out first before I straight up buy it on consoles. But
That's a weird beta.
bugs on that. I mean, the concept is cool. I mean, you're basically just a normal guy training to be a knight, so you get to go around, fight in real sort of like hand-to-hand combat, like almost like as real as it was back in the medieval ages.
Yeah.
But half the time, I'm getting on my horse. The horse will basically, I'll clip through the horse will flip around, and then it'll fall right on me and kill me, and I lost another 20 minutes.
But it's not so the game's like hard like Dark Souls. It's glitchy.
It's
and then
glitchy
it makes
as
it even
fuck.
worse. Yeah, gotcha.
And some of the combat, before the patch, there was a couple of times where I was clearly hitting the guy and you see blood coming out, but I wasn't dealing any damage to it.
Yeah.
I remember I was just playing this game. It's like, it's cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, you go around, you could save, you could try to save people, trying to be the good knight and then get your ass kicked or killed.
There's still like random encounters. It's
There's
just
random
your
encounters.
character is that character.
And in order to make yourself look better, you have to take a bath, dunk yourself in water, clean yourself
Wow.
before you can
It's real.
talk to certain people.
Yeah.
So that means you have to take a poop and take
You
a
can
piss.
fuck anyone in that game. You can fuck guys, girls, you could whatever you
How
want
do
to
you know
do.
this was already, Henry?
So I've been playing it for like about 10
Hardcore
hours.
Henry.
And I lost half my time playing it from stupid bug save.
No, that's horrible. If the game's broken,
The
hopefully,
game
hopefully
seems
we
pretty
save some
good,
people.
other than these bugs.
The
I say
concept.
wait for a year, maybe if it gets patched up enough. And also, this game was actually apparently a Kickstarter game, so it wasn't it wasn't
not a
designed
major-
by a big team. It was
Oh.
designed by a small team.
It's
So
like that Jason game. How buggy is that then?
But it's the concept. You have to
concept's
accept
cool,
its,
but it's
accept its flaws.
Concept sounds
Buggy.
really cool though.
Fallout, Skyrim, all those games always get shit for
yeah,
glitches.
but they have
it doesn't-
hundreds of people working on it to be patching it.
And it doesn't
I'm still
yeah.
waiting on patches for
Yeah,
this game.
it does get patched though when there's something game breaking in those
Give
games.
the guys a break. They're new. They're
They're learning.
Isn't Black Panther still pretty fairly new? I don't think we should be spoiling it.
What's your opinion on it? Did you?
I
like
thought
the
it was
movie?
pretty good. I mean, as it does. As far as everyone's saying that it's only doing so well because it's a movie with black people in it. I mean, that's a little disingenuous to say that's the only reason why. I mean,
Yeah.
probably has the best kind of a story by itself. I mean, as a standalone story, it kind of works,
Yeah.
and they do push some some relevant issues that in real life that have happened to kind of to be placed into the story of Black Panther. I mean, otherwise, I thought the movie was pretty good. I mean, it was certainly better than was it the
Thor Ragnarok.
I actually thought Thor Ragnarok was just too goofy at times.
Yeah. I noticed
It
this
was-
movie isn't as cheesy.
Yeah, it I think first of all, Thor Ragnarok was directed by a guy who directed comedies, so you
Yeah.
can tell that it's more of a comedic movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt more like a little bit more of like a Shakespearean, like a story in this one
Definitely,
than it was with like Thor Ragnarok or like Ant-Man or some of the other movies I've seen.
Definitely.
I give him props for at least doing something like that instead of, and at least in also designs, it's kind of unique. I mean, you don't really see that sort of African-inspired
Yeah.
set design and
That's
like
true.
costumes and stuff like that. So, they're trying something new.
I thought the movie was a little boring, but I liked it. I thought it was okay. I really liked Black Panther, the actor who's playing Black Panther, and the character.
Michael B.
Black
Jordan
Panther.
and
Michael B. Jordan. I didn't think like his acting was the greatest, but the character that he played was very sympathetic.
yeah, it's interesting. As far as the villain goes, there's more
it was
some
interesting.
throwaway villains in some of the other Marvel films.
Definitely, and so it was decent. It's not like as great as everyone's saying it is, which I was kind of disappointed with that. But it's okay.
I can't.
I really like the scenes where they went into like that spirit world. I like the look of that. I like how Michael B. Jordan's character went into that too, even though he's the villain. It just adds to the sympathy that you feel for him. I thought it was well done. And like we were saying, it's not as cheesy as a lot of the other Marvel movies.
Not as cheesy as the last Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like Thor Ragnarok because it's the only closest we're ever gonna get to a Planet Thor movie.
Yeah.
But
and the Thor Hulk fight was awesome.
Yeah, it was one of the highlights of the movie too. So I mean, it's not bad, but I just thought it went a little overboard with how goofy and just too comedic that movie was.
Yeah. Another movie that came out really early in the month of February, it's kind of forgotten by now, the Cloverfield Paradox. It's a Netflix exclusive.
It's actually exclusive because they it was a script. No, Paramount wanted to release this movie like in theaters, and then like they kind of realized that this movie's not as good as it should be to be put into theaters.
Yeah.
I think they sold it off to Netflix, and that's how we got that surprise release on the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
About being out right now, you can go ahead and watch it.
It was like the next day.
Yeah, I literally sat down and watched it. It was only an hour and a half. I mean, it's kind of a weird movie because it's every Cloverfield movie is a different type of movie. So you got the kaiju movie from the first one. The second one was more of a like a suspense, like a psychological thriller in a way.
Yeah, you didn't know if it was real or not.
If it was real, whether or not what was going on, whether aliens, monsters outside,
right? Or was it just all this guy's imagination?
No, there were.
Oh yeah, by the end, you know.
Spoilers for Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane. There's aliens. You see it at the end. But in this one, it's more like a Alien / Event Horizon kind of like inspired movie.
Definitely.
There's like a creature on board the ship, and there's like body horror where people's limbs are detaching from their bodies and stuff like that.
It's definitely an Event Horizon feel.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but then they had to pull in all these other references to a lot of like characters from other movies, so they kind of tie together. I think this movie was designed not to be a Cloverfield movie, and at the last minute they're like, let's just tie this all in with all the other Cloverfield names.
You could kind of say that about 10 Cloverfield Lane too. Mm-hmm. Like the whole last sequence in that movie seems like it's kind of just thrown in there to make it a Cloverfield movie.
It could have been a lot better. I mean, you would think that with the amount that they and some of the production, some of the CG in that movie is kind of cheap looking.
Yeah.
Some of the explosions.
It wasn't a huge
it wasn't a huge production on.
Yeah.
And they got some really good actors in there too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I don't know, they kind of wasted it by having such a mediocre script and just having it tie in with Cloverfield when it shouldn't have to.
Right. Yeah.
Annihilation, a movie that no one will see as much, just as much as like Blade Runner, anyone went out to see. It's a very, I'm talking about sci-fi. This is a very, very deep sci-fi movie. So it starts off. Actually, the way to describe, I thought of it was more like a Heart of Darkness.
Okay.
Kind of like the design where it's these group of people going into this unexplored territory, and as they go deeper, crazier things start happening. I would say, like, as far as visuals go, if you ever watch this movie and if you're stoned or you're on drugs,
the visuals
awesome.
At
the end is insanely trippy. Because
Annihilation. No one else saw that movie, right?
Yeah.
Walking Dead started off nothing spectacular again. Without getting into it, not horrible, but
Walking Dead. Yeah. New season started. You watched that?
I only watched the very first episode. I got now 2, or there's the 3rd one tonight.
Yeah. Oh, it was good. It was closure to the season finale.
Yeah, because you got to see. Some people were trying to say that certain thing that happened might not have happened, but I don't think there's any way around it. That happened.
It's not Dallas.
That happened. There's no dream. They're not going to do a dream scenario. That'd be stupid if they did dreams in that kind of world.
There's a few weird scenes with Rick walking around as an old man. He looked really like Herschel.
Actually, I was watching trailers for something I saw on Netflix. The style and everything of it fucking screamed Blade Runner.
Altered Carbon?
Yes. Did that just come out this month?
Yeah.
That looks...
I watched that.
Was it good? It was good?
It was alright. Is that the one with Eric from True Blood?
The concept of...
No. That's Mute.
That's Mute.
No, the thing I'm talking about is, and So in the future, there has to be something inspired by Blade Runner.
People can't die. Basically.
You can't die. Your conscious can be just transported into another body.
I did
That's
see that.
altered carbon.
I did watch that.
Yes,
Carbon.
but the style of it is Blade Runner. It's Blade Runner to a fucking
Yeah, but
freaking
it's not
T.
Blade Runner.
But it's not the story of Blade Runner.
Doesn't
It's
have that
just
feel.
the
It's just
visuals.
neon
Yes, the
Chinatown.
visuals of it and future.
If you are a sci-fi fan and like Blade Runner, then yeah, I'd recommend checking it out.
I thought it was alright. I mean, it's based on a series of books, so they don't really need to write their own shit. I mean, everything's already written. I mean, I saw like the first 3-4 episodes was pretty good.
Alright, so yeah, that's it, right? Nothing else? Here now is done.
It's going.
Check out our other broadcasts if
Things coming
anything.
up. They're
So
bastards.
Yeah,
if you guys
seeing
have any
HBO.
ideas for this monthly update, let us know in the comments.